Hello YouTube, how's everybody doing? Hope the start to your weekend's going well. So today's Saturday, so I am here for my Sock Saturday. Um, I actually put a lot of work into them Friday because I'd finished I only had the one whip and or a full project for you guys yesterday. So it got uploaded pretty early in the day and wasn't really working on anything else. So I thought, let's tackle the socks. Okay, start off with, I'm going to show you what those stoppers look like on my actual knitting needles. So you can see how they work. Now the tips are sticking out a little, but that's fine. That's how they work. And like they're on there pretty firmly. Like you got to kind of give them a good tug. So I'm not worried about my yarn falling off my knitting needles or anything like that. And I know my work is secure. So these are being done 2 at a time. Cuff up, or cuff down, sorry. Just plain vanilla socks, nothing fancy. No fancy stitches or anything like that. I hope I had both socks facing the same way. So when I showed these to you last time, last Saturday would have been, I had the cuff done and maybe 10 rounds of the leg. Well, there you go. There's the cuff. There's the whole leg. They're just shorty socks. And I have got both heels in. So they're coming along pretty good. Now I'm a size 10 shoe. So I got a little ways to go on the foot. With this yarn and this size of the needle, I think it's 50 rounds roughly I've got to do because I've made another pair of socks with this same yarn and I'm pretty sure same size of needle. So I'm going to do probably about 45 rounds and then try them on and see where I'm at before I put the toe in, kind of thing. I know the trick for measuring is you measure from the tip of your longest toe. Like you put your foot flat on a piece of paper and then put a line at the tip of the top is longest toe and then a line at the very back of your heel and measure it, and you take off 2 inches because usually the toe section is about 2 inches long. I would love to do the toe in this light pink color, but to be truthful, I don't know if I'm going to have enough. Like that's all I have left. I couldn't tell you how much it weighs. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't even know how much I would need for the toe. I could try it, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to hold on to this for another pair of cuffs or something for a different pair of socks. I'm the type of person, I've mentioned this in past videos when it's regarding knitting, that if I make a mistake, especially with the thinner yarn and tinier needles, if I make a mistake or it's not going to work out or whatever happens and it's got to be taken back, I can't just frog it. I rip it all out and start over. I've done that a few different times now with my socks. Not these ones, other ones I've made in the past. And I really don't like having to do that. So if I can get away with not having to rip them out, better. I even tried with my last pair of socks to put in a lifeline before I did the heel, which would have been the other pink ones of this yarn I made. And I did have to rip them out, and I tried picking up the stitches still with the lifeline in it, and couldn't do it. I don't know, like the thinner yarn, I cannot pick it up. And especially if it's on like the heel where you're doing specialty stitches, because you're doing like this heel pattern is it's a abbreviation of the short row heel. I've looked at videos for the short row heel. I honestly like this heel better. Now it's not my ability is not the neatest, but it doesn't look too bad. Like I can show you what the heel looks like, the side. It's not bad. It's not the neatest, but it's not bad either. But it could also be the yarn. Like if I used a thicker yarn and I did that heel with a worsted weight, sock, kind of like, like the work sock style, they may be a little better looking. But I'm still learning this technique, so I think I've used this heel now. This is my third pair of socks. Yeah, I think so. That I've done with this heel. I've got the pink ones, the rainbow ones, these ones. Yeah, so this is my third time doing these heels. And then my very first pair of socks I ever made, which were purple. The main body was purple, and then I used the multicolored heel. I did the cuff down heel flap and gusset turn, whatever, and all that stuff. And I don't like the way those heels feel on my feet. That's why I learned this heel, and I like it much better. So those are my socks so far. I'm going to put them on hold for the rest of the day. Can only work with small yarn for so long, and then, hurts the eyes or hurts the hands. So I've got a lot done. Like I said, I got to still put my foot on the piece of paper and do the measurements for sure. And then, because I know then I got to also, when I measure it and I lay my sock down flat, I've got to measure from the ending of the heel. This is where the back of my heel would sit. And then measure it all the way down to, roughly where the toes would be, kind of thing. So I know I got a ways to go. Like I said, I think it's about 50 rounds I got to do. So we'll see what I'm at next week. Hopefully by next week, I'm at the point to put the toes in, or maybe I already have. You never know. Like, this is pretty mindless knitting now. Now, one thing I can honestly know, I have noticed, and it could just be me, I'm not doing the tension well enough, is, well, especially here, because when I went from the heel to the back to the round, I got a nice little hole in there. I try to pull it tight. Like, even on this side, it's a little loose. It's a little hard to see, but it is a little loose on this side too. So I don't know. I gotta get a little better at doing the going from one needle to the other, so the front or the back. Also, I don't have sock blockers. I don't plan on blocking my socks anyhow, just because they're socks. Like, I don't really care. Something put on my feet, kind of thing, right? But if I were to block them without sock blockers, is there a technique I should use? Maybe, like, I've never actually blocked a single thing I've ever made. Every single thing you guys have ever seen me put on YouTube, or if you're on my Facebook and you've looked at my photo album of my crafts, for everything I've made, I've never blocked a single thing in my life. I know my shawls I should block. Maybe that one blanket, the mandala blanket I'm working on, should maybe get blocked so that you can see all the stitches. I don't know how to block. So, like I said, the socks, even, I'm not going to block them. However they turn out, hopefully with wear and tear and using them and, washing them, and that will kind of maybe loosen up the stitches a bit so they look a little more uniform. Or I may take a little bit of thread and like a bit of the yarn and kind of from the inside stitch it tighter. I don't know. I'll figure out something. I just don't think blocking would resolve that issue, because normally when you block something, it helps to open the stitches, and I want to close the stitches. So anyways, guys, I hope you like my socks so far. I like them, even though they're not, 100%, but they're not quality enough to sell them. But for me, I'm fine with them. After I make these ones, I might get one more pair out of this yarn. Although, I don't know, it's coming down pretty good. Maybe I won't get another pair out of this cake of yarn. So I'm thinking, I have some sock yarn I bought last year for Christmas. Like, not 2025's, but 2024's Christmas. My birthday's coming up in a few months, so hopefully I can get some more of that same sock yarn, maybe in a couple different colorways. And then I found a YouTube channel that she does a lot of sock stuff. Once I've done some of her stuff, I'll share her in later videos, like when I'm doing her style socks. With a lot of different texture in them and stuff. So I think that yarn would work great. Other than that, I don't know if I'm going to do like I'd like to do socks with some cabling in it. It's one thing I would like to do. Or some kind of texture or something. Like, not so much lacy, but I don't know. kind of like maybe look like a basket weave or something like that. I think it would look kind of neat. But we'll have to wait and see. You never know where my sock journey is going to take me. Same with, you never know what yarn I'm going to use. Because like I said, after these pink ones, I don't think I'm going to have enough to do another pair. I was hoping to get one more pair out of this pink. But this pink speckled yarn. But I don't think it's going to happen, which I'm okay with. That just gives me a lot of thin stuff to do some striping, maybe, and like if I get solid sock yarn, then I could add some as striping or something in my socks. Because I've got like this little pale pink that I showed you a moment ago. Oh, I already put it away. Sorry. It's the same minis I was using to make that hat I made from my Head to Toe Winter Knits book that I donate to our cancer hospital. I still have lots of those minis left, like a fair bit of each of those minis left. So it definitely would make a good stripe in the sock somewhere, or a bit of color work in the heel, maybe do two-tone striped heels or something, or who knows what, or two-tone striped toes, or I'll come up with something. The yarn will get used and loved. But anyways, guys, tomorrow's video, which is Sunday, will be my Head to Toe project. I've made progress on it. I'm going to actually work on that after I get this video uploaded. I did change what I was doing with it. I'm much happier with it. I actually drew out the draft so it's easier to follow. Now, I'll talk about that tomorrow when I show it. But I did make 2 alterations to the original chart that was in the book. So I'll show you guys tomorrow if you want to see that. And how that snood affinity scarf. I call it an affinity scarf, but it's labeled a snood in the book. But if you want to see what I've done differently and how it's turning out, please, hey, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications so that when the video goes up tomorrow, you can see how it's going. Also, the poll is still up for my Head to Toe Winter Knits for the next project. Now, this snood's got to be like 58 inches long, and I've got a ways to go. Good ways to go. But now that I got the chart written out better and I'm not doing it off my electronics, hopefully it'll go a little quicker. We'll see what progress in the next couple of weeks brings on it. But if you want to go over to my About page and go to my post, there's actually 2 polls. One for the next amigurumi after I make the owl, which I've not yet started. And so there's a poll for that for my amigurumis, for which animal will I be making next. And there's a poll for the next Head to Toe Winter Knits. Yeah, Head to Toe Winter Knits project. And it's a little further down the page. There's only like 5 or 6 things on my page, so it's not hard to find. Put a vote in if you want. It's just more entertainment for me. Everything in both those books will get made at some point, but not knowing in what order or something like that is fun. When I put the polls up originally, I do not look at the polls until the day they come down. So the Head to Toe Winter Knits, I don't know the outcomes till whatever Sunday the previous project is finished. I'm ready to show it to you guys. And then the amigurumi one, it'll be on Thursdays. So I've kept you guys long enough. Have a good weekend, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.